Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now November 15th of 2022, and with just a handful of episodes of Star Wars Andor left for, of course, Disney and Lucasfilm to showcase to the fans, they are also looking forward to other shows out there like Star Wars Ahsoka, Mando Season 3, and let's not forget about The Bad Batch Season 2. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new universe between George, John, and Dave is that they are 100% focused on how they're going to be able to regulate Star Wars Legends and mixing that in with the current Star Wars canon material and how that's all going to transfer over to the new Star Wars universe. Now, when we look at everything related to that, John and Dave are also focused on hiring new creators that are going to take care of the franchise. This is, of course, a mixture of directors, executive producers, and everybody else getting involved. One thing I do have to mention is that Peyton Reed is going to be a director for multiple new Star Wars shows. He's a very good friend of Jon Favreau. He actually was very well involved with a lot of Marvel projects before, and other projects aside from all of that as well. Now, on top of this too, what's really exciting about this is what Daisy Ridley recently had to say about Lucasfilm as a company and telling fans an untold truth, essentially, of the company and exactly what happened with Jon Favreau way back when. So we're going to be tapping into that right now, and we already know that Daisy Ridley has been very talkative recently because she's been having a lot of conversations with John and Dave. Now, on top of this, with many new Star Wars TV shows in the works between both Favreau and Filoni, currently they are focused on creating many big revelations in the Star Wars universe that is going to excite the Star Wars fandom. Now, it's noted that, however, recently actress Daisy Ridley went on to reveal an untold truth about Lucasfilm when she was talking about her experience with the sequel trilogy movies. Ridley went on to state the following to the fans. So, yes, after we had finished editing The Last Jedi at the time, this was like around the end of summer 2017, Disney was trying to find someone to fulfill Star Wars Episode 9. There was a time when Favreau came this close to getting involved with The Rise of Skywalker as he met up with Kathleen Kennedy and many of the creatives over at Lucasfilm, including, of course, those like Pablo Hidalgo. Favreau presented his pitch, and his pitch had a lot to do with focusing more on the Skywalkers, and especially with Luke and how they can reverse some of the fan backlash at the time. Now, this is something that I vividly remember Lucasfilm taking as something offensive at the time, and that they completely tossed Favreau to the wayside because of his pitch about focusing on the Skywalkers. So let me just stop right here for a second. Now, for those of you that don't know, this was, of course, well before Colin Trevorrow got the job, alright? So, there was a time, I believe it was around 2018, the very beginning of that year, when they started really trying to get, people involved with Episode 9 after the whole Colin Trevorrow situation, and this was a very big deal because when you think about it this way too, they were trying their absolute best to kind of make up for the mess that they left behind with The Last Jedi. As much as Kathleen Kennedy does not want to admit this, they know this. And what Daisy Ridley is saying here is that Favreau came very close to getting involved with The Rise of Skywalker because of using his contacts essentially from The Jungle Book, which was a Disney movie, of course. Now, Jon Favreau did not get the job because he wanted to focus more on the Skywalkers and the Skywalker legacy. He got fired. Well, he didn't really get fired, that was Colin Trevorrow, but Jon Favreau got put to the wayside. Colin Trevorrow got fired. He too, by the way, was focusing on the Skywalkers. And it really was very unfortunate because Colin Trevorrow had some great ideas, some very original ideas before he got fired. Jon Favreau never got hired for the role as a writer and as a director for Episode 9 because he presented these pitches to Lucasfilm, to Kathleen Kennedy, to Pablo Hidalgo, and many others over there, that he wanted to focus on Luke, the legacy of Anakin, Ben Solo, and a whole lot more, right? So on top of this, what's even all the more involved with this is, of course, she goes on to say, this was before Colin Trevorrow was considered, and Lucasfilm wanted nothing to do with Favreau after he openly made it clear that he wanted the story to shift away from the newer characters and focus more so on Luke, the legacy of Anakin, and something special to do with Ben Solo. He wanted it all, and that cost him his position as a main writer for the film, in that trilogy at the time. And it's said, of course, it's sad because, from what I heard, he had some amazing ideas and he wanted to do something unprecedented, Ridley says. Now, the thing about this that comes as a big surprise is the fact that Favreau was very close to actually getting involved in a Star Wars movie. And you can see how that turned out to him getting involved with The Mandalorian, right? Now, when you look at everything related to that, it really makes you wonder what the sequel trilogy end would have been like if Favreau got the job, if Kathy Kennedy, Pablo Hidalgo, and others listened to him, and what he actually wanted to do. What would it have been, been like, essentially? What could they actually have done? That really does make you wonder. They could have done several different attempts that could have course-corrected the problems with The Last Jedi easily, if they made this into a very long movie or something very strong for the franchise, right? So obviously, Disney, they completely missed a great opportunity there. They missed a great opportunity as well with Colin Trevorrow and how Kathleen Kennedy fired him wrongly. I always say wrongly because Colin had more ideas, I think, than anybody ever did in the sequel trilogy movies. Go ahead and look up, the rejected concepts of Duel of the Fates or the concept art, all of which, by the way, was finalized to be used in the script and in the final version of the movie. It got completely tossed to the wayside again. Now, obviously, everything related to Kathleen Kennedy, this is not a big surprise, and Daisy Ridley putting it out there is not a big surprise also, because, let's face it, she's not really involved with Star Wars anymore. She is going to be coming back as a couple of cameos as the new version of Rey, provided by John and Dave, and exactly how that's going to all work out. So that's why she's kind of unchained right now. Really kind of spitting the truth to the fans and just showing exactly, what Lucasfilm was doing back then and how little vision they really had. So, Colin Trevorrow and Favreau, I do feel for those guys because they had some great ideas for Episode 9 without a doubt. And it could have been something so much more, focusing on Luke, the legacy of Anakin, more so on Ben Solo, the reformed version of Kylo Ren, and a whole lot more. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night